Hey everybody, Michael Snyder here, Pacific Northwest Weather Watch. Today is February 14th. Happy Valentine's Day, everybody out there. Taking a look at the infrared satellite imagery here, you can see the system that came through yesterday and all these convergence zone bands, lots of thunderstorms. Probably had well over 100 strikes across some of western Washington during the day yesterday. Some thunderstorms down off the Oregon coast as well. And then you can see this feature that kind of moved through late last night, overnight, early this morning here across some of southwest Washington down through Oregon. Models picked up on that feature quite well also. We'll take a look at how some of the models did here. Then we'll take a look at the extended forecast, folks. This is looking quite crazy here on through the later portion of February as we look like we're going to be flirting with some more Arctic air across the region, potentially a more substantial Arctic blast coming down here. We'll take a look at those details here in a moment, so stick with me. Take a look at current hazards. These are going to be running out during the day today. Some winter storm warnings still in effect for the Oregon Cascades Coastal Range. Winter weather advisory will be expiring later as well as this moves down out of the area. And same thing here for Idaho and Montana shown there. Now, this is the scene out there this morning. This is the weatherman on Twitter. Follow him and go ahead and check him out there on Twitter. You can see the icy conditions out there and the nice coating of snowfall we had across some of the southern Puget Sound here this morning. Now, taking a look here, this was at my house. That convection that kind of moved down this morning made for a nice scene out there, reflecting some of the colors of the sun. And you can see the Olympic Mountains there. And you can see pretty icy out there as well. It was 30 degrees when I woke up, pretty much just a sheet of ice out there. I officially measured 0.8 inches of snow at my house here. I think SeaTac at 0.4. Their snow measuring area is kind of compromised out there. It's all cement and rather quite warm there by the airport there. So, I had less snow if you're driving around there. So they probably had, officially probably closer to an inch if they had better measuring areas. Now, this is also out there, the weatherman Federal Way last night. You can see that nice coating going on there. And this is about an inch and a half out there in Federal Way. So if you guys want, let me know in your comments if you saw nothing or what kind of snowfall amount you got here as we went on through the night and through the early morning today. So taking a look here, this is 700 millibar temperatures here, and you can see the system. One more look at it here, and you can see that cold air diving down across the area here, and it's going to get out of our area, and we're going to build some ridging here across Pacific Northwest. So nothing in the immediate future coming up here, but we're going to look at the extended forecast here in a minute, and something quite sinister looks like it's on the horizon here. Now, taking a look for the next few days, you can see the overnight lows as we went through this morning here, pretty chilly across much of western Washington, Oregon, British Columbia as well, all the way up to the coastline. You could have got some freezing temperatures this morning. Should be warming up as we go through the day today, but watch what happens as we go on in through tomorrow morning. For example, you can see again down in the 20s for a lot of the Puget Sound, Willamette Valley here, even out to the coastlines here, southwest BC as well. So a lot of thawing and refreezing. Watch out for those slick spots as you go on in through tomorrow morning. Look at this, some of the mid 20s here, and even teens showing up across some of western Washington down into the Willamette Valley as well. Now, as we go on into Wednesday, see us warm up again. We're going to thaw, and then we're going to refreeze again as we go on into Thursday morning, back down into the 20s for many of the areas west of the Cascades here again. And we go on into Thursday, you see the warm up again, and then again back down towards freezing again here on into Friday morning. Now, taking a look at how the models did, the UW model, you can kind of see that band down here, probably underdid it a bit here, and it did all right with that feature moving down across southwest Washington towards Portland and the Willamette Valley, and it did pick up some of the snow activity up here. Probably overdid that maybe a little bit from the pictures I saw, but if you guys see something different up there across, Everett, Snohomish, King County line there up towards Marysville and whatnot, send that to me. I think Whidbey Island did get some snowfall last night as well, and you can see the big amounts across the Cascades were really never in doubt. This is looking at the European here. This is yesterday afternoon's run here, and you can kind of see it showed that band here across the southern Puget Sound here, but underdid it a little bit here as what we were concerned about over the last few days. And you can see it did pick up that feature quite well that moved down across Oregon on in through this morning. Now, this is looking here, the high-resolution Canadian, and you guys probably remember me talking about this the last few days, had that band here across the southern Puget Sound, so it did quite well with that. This is yesterday afternoon's run, and you can see it pretty much nailed it. I mean, really good job here from the Canadian model, and I think it nailed that little band across some of southern Whidbey Island. If I'm not mistaken, I believe they did get some snowfall out there last night as well. Then you can see the feature that moved in overnight into this morning here across the region there as well. It brought some measurable snowfall down the I-5 corridor towards Portland and the Willamette Valley this morning. Now taking a look at the extended forecast here. Here's the European control of last night. You can see the system impacting us now, and you'll see it move down and out of our area there. Get some ridging. A weak system splits here and brings a low pressure system off the coast of California here on through this weekend. We've got ridging here as a polar lobe kind of moves down mainly east of the Rockies here, but watch this ridge retrograde here. By the time we get into hour 180, you can clearly see this polar lobe open up here on the Pacific Northwest at about hour 192 or so. It kind of hangs out for a bit here too as we go on into the following week. This would be shown here. So this is still over a week out right now. We're just kind of watching things, but we have pretty good model agreement between the European, the Canadian, and the GFS. So watching this ridge, you can see another polar lobe kind of moving down after that as well. So you can see we potentially have multiple rounds as we go towards the end of February shown here. So winter is not over yet, folks. So heads up for this. We'll be watching this. It still is over a week out there. So we have to do our due diligence and kind of watch this pattern unfold here. But like I'm about to show you here, we got good model agreement. Here's the Canadian. This is hot off the presses 12Z. Let me update that to make sure we have the most recent data. And there we go. So this is the Canadian, the deterministic run here. So this is the initial conditions, best we understand them, and we let the model run out here, usually the highest resolution model as well. So you can see that polar lobe kind of move down, mainly east of the Rockies here, but then you see the retrograde start to happen of this ridge and allows this polar lobe. This is that's almost a full-on Arctic blow here to the Pacific Northwest here, showing up in the Canadian as well as the European, and pretty close also. This would be on into next week. You can see this is only 180 hours out. Really not that far out here when you're looking at these big ridge and trough positions out there, especially the good model agreement. So it's something worth noting here. Still technically fantasy, but it's getting close to coming out of fantasy land here in the next couple of days. And you can see that ridge continue to hang out here across the Gulf of Alaska here, and that could continue to bring systems down from the north across Pacific Northwest through the later portion of February. Now let's look at the GFS here. We've got our system moving through here. Ridge goes across the area, system splits down towards California. Ridge hangs out, polar lobe just misses us here, and then we start to bring this next polar lobe across the area, and that's an Arctic blast here, folks, across Pacific Northwest. Hour 183 there. Good model agreement there, but it's still technically fantasy right now. It's just something we're watching here and trying to prepare for at this point. Keep that in motion there, and you can see it hang out across Pacific Northwest for a while here, and that polar lobe kind of hangs out here through the 250-hour region time frame here, I should say. Let me update this to see if we have any more data here in the GFS. Let's go to hour 252 where we were, put that into motion, and you can continue to see kind of an active pattern here out of the north here through the extended GFS as well. But again, purely fantasy for now, but we have good model agreement, and it's something worth noting. This is the GFS 850 millibar temperature streamlines temperature anomaly here. So let's see what that would mean. Let's fly ahead and see that ridge start to retrograde out there, and look at this Arctic air, very cold across British Columbia here and spilling out into western Washington, Oregon, all the way down the coastline here, and you can see that really pretty entrenched here across Pacific Northwest. So very interesting signal here on through the extended, folks. Now this is looking at the European, the control run. This is last night's run, or yesterday afternoon's run, I should say. And we put this into motion here, and you can clearly see the same signal emerging here as that ridge retrogrades. Very cold Arctic air getting established across the Pacific Northwest here on the European. Really good model agreement here towards 200 hours, folks, with some very cold air just engulfing the west coast here. And what individual systems do at this time frame, we have no idea yet. We don't know the trajectories yet or anything as well. Now looking at the European ensemble mean, so we're taking all 50 ensemble members when we're averaging out. And let's see what kind of signal it shows. Pretty good agreement here on the ridge. And there it goes. Cold air across the Pacific Northwest, up shop across British Columbia there in towards the 10-day time frame shown here. So this is something worth watching, folks. Very strong signal for some very cold air across Pacific Northwest here. This is the GFS ensemble mean too. Let's just check this out. We're doing our due diligence here, and we're just trying to check out every single model here to see what it shows. Actually, this is not updating enough for me here. Let's see how far this goes out now. Only hour 99, so let's back up to the 06Z. This is last night's GFS ensemble mean. Let's see what it says. I have not looked at this one yet, but you can clearly see that cold signal emerging here in the ensembles here, and even kind of a low-pressure surface development here somewhere off the BC-Washington coastline here on through the 10-day period there, but very strong signal for some cold air here. Again, as I've said several times already, this is the European ensemble 2-meter temperature anomaly. So let's see what this would mean here. Put it into motion there, and you can see that cold air really taking up residents here across Pacific Northwest. Some of these temperatures 20 degrees below, 30 degrees below average Celsius, you're getting close to there. Look at that, 33. So very cold air signal there, all the way out to the coastlines here on this European control run as shown here. So pretty interesting signal there. That's going to be something fun to be watching over the next few days. Expect the trajectory to line up and change a little bit here, but that's really strong model agreement as we go on in through the extended. So anyway, we're going to have a little bit of a break here as long as after the system does move out of Oregon. It's still kind of impacting the area down there, especially across the Oregon Cascades as we speak. But watch out for those slick spots out there. Watch out for that thawing and refreezing here over the next few days across Pacific Northwest as well. And if you have any nice snow pictures, send me them on Twitter there, and maybe I'll even post them tomorrow during my briefing there. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to watch how this pattern sets up here towards the later portions of February. So we will take a look at all this again tomorrow, and I hope you guys are having a good day. Get out and enjoy the nice views and hopefully some sunshine today across a lot of the areas, and I will talk to you guys tomorrow.